Welcome back to the Coins and Connections podcast, where we explore all things books, business, and bullshit. My favorite bees. Now let's get into today's episode. Episode 44 coming to you on a beautiful Wednesday. I hope you guys don't get used to me popping in on the middle of the week, but I wanted to just come in with a special episode, and I'll probably be dropping 2 episodes until the end of the year, where I will end with episode 50, possibly on New Year's Eve. Don't hold me to that, but that is the plan. I do have some good episodes coming up for you guys. But today, I wanted to pop in to kind of keep encouraging you on your search to find a therapist. I've been super open about my experience when things didn't go well. And when I've been frustrated with this whole process, to let you know that sometimes it just does not happen the right way the first time. So to me, I'm just gonna sit here and say third time is a charm because since I've been in Virginia, basically almost 2 years in January, today will be my third time going to see a therapist. It's actually Tuesday. I'm recording for Wednesday, but this will be my third time trying to, kind of find a perfect fit for a therapist. So I just wanted to come and give you guys a little update. So I'll talk about my experience and how did I go about finding a therapist, and then I'll also make sure I come back and update after my first session tonight, and just give you guys a little bit how I feel and a little bit of a debrief on ways that you can make this process easier for you, and why it's important for you to seek help when you're in a situation where you suffer from anxiety, depression, or you're just feeling super down and you don't want to pinpoint a certain issue, but you do need to decompress and talk to someone, because you can have things going on in your life, and sometimes you can have like a situational depression because you started a new job or you moved to a new place. So there are circumstances where you're only depressed because of an event that has happened in your life, and just to know that that's okay, and if you seek help and find your way to work through that for the time being, and that helps, then you keep going, or you end the relationship with your therapist, whatever you choose and whatever works for you. Again, everyone is different, but I enjoy sharing my experience because I know if I'm going through it, there's definitely somebody out there who's actually been frustrated or gone through the same thing as me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode today. So I get asked a lot, how did you start your podcast? Where do I begin? How can I start a podcast? Well, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. I'm down with the free. There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Like, ain't nobody listening yet and you making money. How dope is that? It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So what are you waiting on? Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, y'all. So I am driving home after my therapy session, and I love my new therapist. I just don't even, I love her. I am so ready to get this work done because she asked the questions, honey. She pushed me to open up and realize some things within the first introductory session. So I already know it's about to be good. I already know I'm about to get some healing. I'm about to be able to release, and I'm about to be able to transform my attitude and manifest a whole new life. So for anyone who has had struggles finding the right therapist. Don't give up. This is lucky number 3. And the first session was amazing. We gelled really well. It was really easy to communicate. And I love what she stands for and how she moves. And y'all, she cursed too? Yes. Okay. So that is just, I felt so comfortable. I felt like I was sinking into that couch, honey. But she pinpointed so many things for me already that I feel is going to make this whole experience worth my 2 failed experiences. It's gonna be worth it. It's like I waited for this. So I'll go back next week and we will, kind of just really start the work and get to the root of everything. And I just want to encourage y'all that don't give up. It's a process. It's a process to find the right therapist. It's a process to just even be open to going to therapy. And it's also a process to even be open and to talk about it with the whole damn world. So all of these things that I am saying is not easy, but I feel like if I can share my journey, the good, the bad, and the ugly, when someone listens to this and they were struggling with the same issues, they know that they're not alone, and then that the sunshine will come out tomorrow if they keep being persistent at it. I kind of wish I was more consistent earlier, but because of my whole fear of rejection and people fucking with my time, I just kind of get turned off to things, and I just kind of like, I'm gonna cut that bitch off type person. So when things don't go my way, I'm kind of in my feelings for a little bit, but after I'm out of my feelings, I can get back to doing the work. So that's kind of where I am. So like I said, if you were thinking about going to therapy and you just haven't found the right therapist, just keep trying. Also, don't stay with the therapist who's not doing anything for you. Do not stay where you are not being fed or healed. Do not stay when you feel like you're just there to be there, because that's not how you should feel. You should feel like something is happening and a shift is happening in your life. So that is my little overview of my therapy session from tonight. And in the next segment, I'll just kind of give you guys some inspiration and hope of what you can achieve and how I went about finding a therapist. All right, guys, so today I am just going to give you a little background of how I went about finding my new therapist. So I do listen to a podcast called Therapy for Black Girls, and it's a really good website, and they also have a directory. Now, I know that everyone who listens to this podcast may not be Black, and that is okay, but I just want to go through my experience and how I went about finding my therapist. I don't remember if I don't think she was on that directory, but I did find a few candidates. My whole thing was I was looking for someone who was kind of close, and I did not want to drive more than 20 minutes. So I think a lot of them did not even have a website, or it was just a little bit too farther than what I was willing to drive. So that played a big part in how I handle it. Now, for my military spouses, I have TRICARE Prime, and TRICARE allows you to self-referral to therapists, and to get therapy. So that is an amazing thing that they have. So you go, there's no copay, you don't pay anything, and you can go for as long as you want. So they have really stepped their game up in that department. So any of my military spouses out there who are looking for a therapist, hop on over to TRICARE, type in therapy. It could be like individual therapy, marriage counseling, whatever you want to go for, and you can find a therapist. So to me, it was easier that way because of my insurance, and I wanted to make sure I was finding someone who accepts TRICARE, because that's a big part of it. If you don't accept my insurance, then it's like, how is this gonna work? Because I did not want to come out of pocket. So that was so disrespectful. I'm sorry, y'all. I did not want to come out of pocket, so being able to go through my insurance website to find a therapist was amazing. So if you do not have TRICARE, if you're not a military spouse, if you just have just any other insurance, see if your insurance company has like a directory on their website where you can look for a therapist in your area. That's just how I went about doing it. So once I did that, then I looked at the locations, and then also, of course, I wanted a Black female. So I looked at pictures. There were pictures there were information, they had website, and I went to 2 different websites, and then I looked at 2 different people for 2 different locations, and then I decided on one. I gave her a call. She had a voicemail set up for return calls. She returned my call within an hour. By then I set up my appointment. We scheduled last week for yesterday, and she sent over the papers within 30 minutes for me to fill out before my first appointment. And when I got there yesterday, I gave her the paperwork, and she took a copy of my ID, and we just kind of sat down and got started. And within that first conversation, I knew that I had found a good therapist because of the questions she asked. It was very thought-provoking to be able to push me past my limits, and she technically noticed something about me that I knew about myself but did not understand that that's what it was, or that's kind of what I do. So basically, when there's an issue or something that's bothering me, I always say, I have a high tolerance for BS. It takes a while to get me mad, but at the same time, when I do get upset, it's not good for anybody because then I see red, like red hot chili peppers. And she basically said people who kind of let it go often, they don't hold as much of that in their body. And I am super tense because I hold most of my anger just all throughout my body. So I'm very tense, and I'm never super relaxed because I'm always holding back and holding in a lot. And I thought that was very interesting, especially for our first conversation. So she's a winner in my eye, and I'm excited about seeing her weekly because I feel like I just need to holler at my girl weekly. And she cursed too, so I already told y'all that, but hey, I'm down with anybody who's just, real, down to earth, and we can relate. So that has been my experience so far in how I went about finding my new therapist. All right, guys, we are coming to the end of this episode, and I want to hear from you. I want to hear if you've seen a therapist, if you are seeing a therapist, are you looking for a therapist? Has there been a conflict between you and your therapist? You had to fire them, you had to seek out help from somebody else. I am going to do a question and answer podcast in probably next week or the week after, but sometime in December, and I really want to be able to answer you guys' questions. So I will make sure I leave a link below where you can call in. You can also send me the questions on my Instagram at Cinquanta Cox-Smith. If you have me on Facebook, feel free to drop it in my inbox, or you can send me an email with your question at hello@coinsinConnections.com. I look forward to hearing from you guys, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode, and I hope you are open to seeking therapy, whether it's for your children, yourself, your marriage, or just so you can have some type of career counseling, because that works as well. So whatever you do it well, okay? And until next time. Thank you so much for listening and subscribing. Don't forget to leave a review. If you have any questions, you can email me at hello@cinquantacoxsmith.com. Feel free to visit my websites, www.cinquantacoxsmith.com and www.coinsinConnections.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Cinquanta Cox-Smith and at Coins in Connections. Feel free to visit my free Facebook group. It's called Books Plus Business Support Network. And I love love you more than I love this podcast. Peace.